My favorite Harold Brighouse quote is about his parents, and he writes, "The marriage flouted Victorian conventions. It asserted independence of mind. It was affirmation of love." And I think that quote is such a great encapsulation of what this play is like. It is, ZACK does assert independence of mind, and it is an affirmation of love. I think it's so special that Brighouse was seeing that in his own life and channeled it into this script. Jonathan sent me ZACK, and then I did some research on Harold Brighouse while I was in London. I read his autobiography while I was at the British Library. Brighouse was born in Eccles and then worked in textiles, moved to London where he met his wife and became a playwright, and kind of didn't see a lot of theater growing up, maybe saw 4 or 5 plays his entire childhood, but then enjoyed going to theater kind of socially. It was like a cool bohemian thing to do, to get cheap tickets and experience live theater with other artists and intellectuals. He ended up living in Hampstead, and he writes in his autobiography about how he probably would have done more writing if there wasn't so much great theater to see in London. He's kind of like, London is a really fun city, and who knows what I would have written if I weren't having such a great time. He died in 1958. He collapsed in the Strand and died in London. Brighouse sort of thought of himself when he reflected on his career as a regional playwright, but his work was produced all over, in London, regionally throughout England, and also in America. Even ZACK, our play, was first produced on a tour in America, so it happened in New York before it happened in London. So Brighouse was like sort of all over and making his mark, but writes about himself quite self-deprecatingly. And when I was in London, I went to the National Theatre Archives. I booked in for an appointment and I learned about Hobson's Choice, which they did produce at the National. Hobson's Choice being Brighouse's probably most famous and well-known play. And I looked at everything. I looked at photos and I looked at the staging plan and the stage manager's blocking notes. I just kind of wanted to see the physicality of this production. What I was really hoping to find was some of Brighouse's handwriting, which I was not fortunate enough to encounter, but I got to track his ideas changing about Hobson's Choice and like the wording in that play, which was kind of meaningful to me to get some insight into his brain.